They cheated. It was unfair. There I was, lining out what I considered to be the best budget knives of 2024, and everything was going to plan. And then Kizer reached out. And in my hands today, I have what is potentially, most definitely, the best budget knife that I've handled all year round, just in time for the awards ceremony to start. But is it too late? Or did Kizer just come in and steal the budget knife of the year? Let's go ahead and talk about the sub $70 Kizer Military. Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, make sure to smash that like button on the way in. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And today, by the skin of their teeth, Kizer has come rolling in with a budget knife of the year contender. And I was ready. I had my list of budget knife contenders. We've checked out a plethora of different knives in the sub $100 category. And I know. Well, many of you guys are like, what do you mean under $100 is a budget knife? What kind of budget are you on? Look, this is just my rating system. I consider anything $0 to $99 to be budget. I digress. The reason why it is anything under $100 is because that is typically the most comparable range that I can currently think of. And if you disagree with me, you are welcome to that opinion. Make sure to pop it in the comment section down below. This is the Kizer Military, and previously this was only available in a premium format, meaning that we were looking at titanium and carbon fiber and a super mirror polished DLC. And I think that most people were happy with that. But the problem with that is that not everyone is going to spend $150, $250 on a knife. A lot of people don't want to. In fact, a lot of people that look at this knife say, I want to use it, but I just don't feel right taking a $200 expenditure and using it for some cutting tasks. But you know what everyone's okay with is using a sub $100 knife for cutting tasks, and that is why this is squarely in the budget realm. This is going to be coming in at $63. I'm going to say that again. This knife is $63, and that is really good. In fact, you can actually bring that price down a little bit depending upon which variation you want to go with, because even though this is in fact a budget knife, it is actually not the least expensive military that you can currently buy, but it is definitely the one that I would recommend if you want a military and you don't want to spend, $150, $200. Get this one. Let's talk about why. Starting off with the specs, this is an 8-inch knife, putting it squarely in the full-size knife range. We've got a 3.4-inch blade that is 154 cm in this beautiful high-polished satin finish. Very, very nice. The handles are contoured and chamfered G10 handles with PEI inlays. And you're like, wait, I thought that was Ultim. Well, Ultim is a brand of this material, but ultimately, see what I did there? Ultim is PEI. It's just a certain brand. We've got T8 hardware all the way around, a single-sided captive pivot, a deep carry pocket clip with flush screws, and we've got some seriously good milling here. Check that out. So the inlays are over this G10 cutout, and then the steel frames are actually milled out even further. And so with that in mind, even though this is a full-size knife, you're still looking at 3.7 ounces. That's crazy talk. It's crazy talk. This knife is very, very, very well balanced, and I really, really enjoy the feel in the hand. The ergonomics are, let's face it, they're top notch. They're very, very good, and the action is supreme. This is something that sets budget knives apart, because typically speaking, one of the big things you can tell aside from materials between a budget knife and a premium knife is going to be in the action. And the action on this is strangely good. It's fall shut, but it's also very glassy, very smooth. And everything that made the more expensive version of this knife has been translated to a more affordable format. So if you're one of those holdouts where you said, you know what, I like the design, everyone says good things about it, I just don't know if I want to spend, 150, 200, 250 bucks on a more premium version. I mean, how badly do I really need DLC? Well, I gotta say, this version specifically is making an amazing argument for why the Militaw is a good knife. And a big shout out to Jonathan Stiles, who is the designer behind the Militaw, because the man has really, really good design taste. I'm not the biggest fan of PEI or Ultim material. I generally see them and it's the full amount covering, the full handles, and I'm like, yay, yellow. But I love black and yellow. The black G10, which has been very nicely smoothed over and milled out, provides a really excellent contrast to the yellow PEI material or the yellow Ultim material. They did a great job. Now, on the deployment methods, for those of you who are deplorable like me and you love fidgeting with your knives, we've got two deployment options here. We've got the deployment window and, of course, the front flipper. Now, I'm not the greatest front flipper in the world. I don't do all the tricks, but, I do enjoy them. I like the fact that it guarantees jimping on the spine of the blade, at least in some respects. In this case, the jimping is good. It's a moderate jimping. It's not super deep. It's also not super shallow. It definitely works in that regard. And while we do not have a finger choil or a finger cutout here, you can, of course, rest your finger on that flat spot, which allows a decent amount of control between your thumb and your index finger. So those controlled cuts are going to be very, very easy indeed. Now, we also have the deployment hole, and I love that action. The deployment hole is perfect. I feel like the detent on here is, in fact, kind of geared towards the deployment hole. And, while we're on that topic, how is the detent? I mean, it's solid. I'm not shaking this. I'm not shaking it open. It's a solid detent, and it is definitely tuned towards the deployment hole. Can you fail this? I mean, I haven't failed it yet. Oh, Kizer. I see what they did there. They said, oh, this is what's happening. Well, here's a premium knife that everybody loves, and we're going to translate everything that people love about the premium knife minus the premium materials. And here it is in a more affordable format. 154 cm and a satin finish blade, G10 and PEI, deep carry pocket clip with flat head screws. That's great. It means you're not going to have any issue with this in and out of your pocket. This is going to be a luxury knife for the user who actually uses their knives. Is it a safe queen? No, you're not going to put this in your safe. I mean, what's the point? We're talking about 154 cm, G10, and PEI. These are user level quality materials. All of these materials are very good for everyday use. That means that you can use this with reckless abandon. The 154 cm is a stainless steel with decent edge retention. It's got corrosion resistance. Again, it's stainless, and it's not terribly hard to sharpen, but it's going to hold an edge for a decently long time. It makes it very, very, very attractive. I like this knife a lot. And I think that quite possibly anytime I compare another budget knife that I've looked at this year to the budget Militaw, I'm just going to come out and say it, guys, this is the budget knife of the year. Many of you guys might not like that. You might say, well, I mean, it was a premium knife first. The way that they translated the design to less expensive materials with all of the same great fit and finish is insanity. There were a couple knives that came really, really close. And I realize now at this point that I do, in fact, need to do a top 5 budget knives of 2024 video. So, you know what? If you like this and you want to see that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, because quite frankly, this is phenomenal. So Rollshambo, what was the list of criterion for you to come up with the Kizer Militaw being the budget knife of the year? Well, first of all, I couldn't give it to a knife design that didn't have T8 hardware, and we've got T8 hardware everywhere. I also couldn't give it to someone that didn't have a single-sided captive pivot, and this one in fact does. I also wanted to see a variety in quality materials, and between 154 cm, G10, and PEI, we've got it. I wanted to make sure that it was something that every user could feel good about putting in their pocket and could be useful, not just to look at and say, ooh, that's pretty, but also to truly appreciate what a good knife this is for the sake of being a good design and a good user tool. But I'm sure that there are many of you who disagree with me, and you know what? Go ahead and pop it in the comments section down below. If not the Kizer Militaw G10 PEI 154 cm version, then what do you have as your budget knife of 2024? If you watched this far and you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to consider subscribing. And if you just want to watch some more awesome Knife It EDC content, feel free to click on one of the videos that pops up next.